We wanted to do some videos about our thoughts really about leadership. We're always talking about it. We always see things in everyday life that makes us think about leadership and how people present themselves and the impact they have on others. So we thought we'd do some videos called Just a Thought. And the topic for this one couldn't be anything else really, could it? It has to be Europe. It's been such a tumultuous week in Europe, both with the football and the politics. So with that in mind, we're going to look at two people in particular. So both men, David Cameron and Roy Hodgson, have had to resign from their jobs because things haven't quite gone to plan for either of them. So we thought that'd make interesting subject matter. Now, can't stress enough, this isn't about political beliefs or anything to do with that or anything about football support. It's purely about how both men went about resigning and actually the differences between them and how they did it, and then subsequently the different impacts it's had because of the way they did it. So let's look at David Cameron first. Very interesting. So came out of 10 Downing Street. Obviously he's got a pre-prepared speech. I don't think he actually expected to have to resign, but there you go. But what he does and how he does it is very interesting. So if you watch how he does it, he stands up and then he makes loads of eye contact with the different people who are stood, all the press obviously, standing in Downing Street. He makes loads of eye contact. So he gives you the impression that he's purely using the written word as a prompt rather than it being a verbatim speech. So it feels like it's coming more from here than just reading it off a piece of paper. The next thing he does is he admits defeat, and he does that really well. So he basically says he campaigned with his heart, soul and everything, and the only way he knew how. The path that the British people have chosen is not the one he believes in, but now he's going to throw his complete weight behind it. That's a clever thing to do, because what he's saying is, this isn't what I wanted, which is clearly what everybody knows, so he's stating it up front, but then he's going, but now I'm going to get behind what we need to do. So a very good strategy, and again it makes it feel like it's really coming from him. And then right towards the end of the speech he talks about how much he loves the country. I love this country and I'm always going to do my best for it. And again it's the break of the voice, it's the real passion and authenticity that you get from him. Throughout the whole time he never drops his voice, he talks in a very calm but authoritative way. So you really get the impression that he believes what he's saying. Now, contrast that with Roy Hodgson, who had to resign after probably the worst performance of an English team that most of us has ever seen. I don't think I've met a football fan yet that would disagree with that. Again, not a problem having a pre-prepared speech. Probably didn't expect to resign, but he reads it verbatim, unlike Cameron that used it as a prompt. But I suppose the biggest difference between the two men is that what Hodgson says is not really in congruency with what's happened. So there's no admission that they played appallingly. There's no admission that they're disappointed and they're gutted to be there. It's just this is a fantastic, hungry, talented set of players. But that's not what everybody's just seen. They've just seen the worst committed performance ever. So it's really a misstep on his behalf, because everybody's going, were you watching the same team as me? Because I wasn't seeing that. And then he talks about how fantastic a bunch of players they are, how committed they are, but that's just not what everybody's seen. So it feels really out of kilter. And then, right at the end, he says, these things happen about falling out of a tournament. Now that's not really what the England fans wanted to hear at that time. Not a great message. If he'd sat there and said, I'm gutted, we're so disappointed, we're all desperately sorry, that's how we played, then he'd have had a very different message, but he didn't say that. It's just interesting to compare the two, but then think about what we can learn from it. So for us, it's just a thought. See you next time.